purchase, typically what most people, the reason they buy is that they don't, so they typically will have maybe their first and last security deposit, but they don't have the full down payment. Or maybe they have to work on credit or something like that. So they will go into agreement that if I put down so much money, that is, and they fix the price. Let's say it was a year ago. They fix the price at that time, and then they give them credit for whatever they've given for the down payment or deposit. If they were renting, it would be a deposit, and they have an agreement that they will buy it within so many years, and they have the option to buy it any time. So depending on how much money every month they have saved. So the way they save their money monthly is they take the fair market rent, is what these companies do, or a seller would do. It doesn't have to be a company. It could be anybody. They take the fair market rent, and then they give them they increase that sales price, so it's an automatic savings.
Right.
So let's say your normal is $1,500 a month. So they might charge $1,800 a month. So you'll get a credit $300 a month towards the purchase when you actually close.
Right.
So it'll be spelled out in an agreement for that lease purchase agreement.
Yep. So 36 months later, or 12 months later, times 3, you got $3,600 there as a down payment towards your closing, and you're ready to go, and you potentially exercise the option to purchase.
Yep, absolutely. So they get so what we do is we go ahead and get their copy of their actual whatever they've given down, whether it's $3,500, $5,000, whatever they've given down in the beginning. So we get a copy of that. We get a copy of every month that they've actually paid their rent, and then they actually get the credit for that as the down payment and closing cost. So they have an automatic savings.
Yep, that's awesome. So it's a win-win. Another example of creating win-wins in business. That's what it's all about. Is if you can create a win-win in business, you're able to have deals happen, make deals where maybe there previously wasn't a deal that was existing, and then But before we move to seller-held financing, I'll see if you wanted to add anything to that, Ray.
No, in my realm, we don't. That would something be more associated with Diane, because I'm just doing the real estate.
Yeah.
Now, when I do a contract for sale, or if I'm appraising for the purchase of a property, sometimes I find out that contract is with a tenant and a landlord. And at that point, a lot of times on the appraisal, we just mark that transaction, because I report everything about the transaction, is a non-arm's length transaction. It wasn't two strangers coming together, having a meeting of the minds, figuring out the value, and then agreeing on the price. There's other details involved that aren't most likely reflected in the comparable sales.
Got it. Okay, so that would be considered a non-arm's length transaction.
Yeah, a little bit of a fine line there either side, but a lot of times I'll go ahead and say it is non-arm's length, and I'll explain why. It wasn't necessarily family or incredibly cheap, just that they did know each other, and it wasn't the normal type of agreement than you would with just one of the houses, say, that you sell.
Yeah, I had an interesting scenario presented to me by a friend of mine. He called me. He said, "Hey, man, his friend was in a deal. The realtor didn't disclose that he was boyfriends with the other realtor. So strike one there. He didn't disclose, a friendly relationship.
Right.
And then secondly, the appraisal came back, and they did a rebuttal on the appraisal. The whole thing got really hairy, really weird, and I think one of the attorneys is going to be handling that case.
Yeah.
So you got to be. The number one rule is disclose everything, right?
Yeah, just you never want to, and that's what we do in appraisal.
Yes.
I just looked at a property today where they're redoing the bathroom.
Yeah.
I could have taken the picture, made it look like the bathroom was fine.
Yeah.
But I took the extra step of going in and taking a picture of the renovations that are because. What if they get a second appraisal? What if something happens and they find out that, I didn't disclose or I tried to hide something?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that, the state looks at.
Yeah, CYA, you got to cover it, and you also got to make sure you're doing the right thing at all times.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. Is our licensing is not worth trying to do a favor or do something, or being negligent. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Diane, multiple offers are still happening out there. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's so much demand. We talk about it a lot on the show here. I mean, New York, New Jersey, a lot of these blue states, people are coming down for the freedom and the sunshine here in Florida.
Oh yeah, I have them from coming from Washington State, California, New York, New Jersey. I mean, all over. It's amazing to me how many people are moving to Florida every day. And with the remote availability, I had a lady yesterday from Minnesota. There, her company allows her to, purchase or work anywhere. So she's moving to Florida, and it's funny because she said she was same situation in Minnesota, even though it's cold, is that they can't find houses because there's not enough houses on the market to actually buy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
she's decided to try to come to Florida. I'm like, okay, well, it's the same situation here, but hey, good luck.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I've been working some of my bigger land deals, my development deals, and it's like, wow, this one's close to a railroad track, or this one they just couldn't meet the terms, or also the other thing that happens is sellers a lot of times they don't understand how long it takes to close a development deal.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you about that, Ray, on the other side of this break. I think Diane's got a hard out here at half past the hour here, but development deals, I want to talk a little bit about that. But Diane, what else are you seeing? I mean, right now there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin. People are thinking, oh, should I invest in real estate? Should I invest in Bitcoin? What's your take on that?
Well, I will tell you, on my end, Bitcoin, we can't use it for the down payment. It's not a source. It's not federally recognized. So if you're going to use Bitcoin, you decide to actually cash it in, do it before the 60 days because we cannot use it as funds for closing. So Bitcoin is not a recognized in the mortgage world because you cannot. So everything has to have a paper trail, right? So there's really no paper trail on Bitcoin, and that's part of the problem. Yes, they do have statements, but it's not been recognized by the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac yet. I don't know if it will be because federally, I don't know that it's actually recognized. So there's nothing backing it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, right. So there's nothing backing it. So I don't know. A lot of people are making a lot of money from it, but you also can lose a lot of money on it. I'm not a risk taker like that, but I guess it makes sense. Things are changing as the world goes on, and the more, who knows? It will probably be there one day.
Yeah, it's risk tolerance. It comes down to risk tolerance, and the more you know about it, and I think that's where you get the younger generations more open to that type of an investment. But there's nothing like that, the insurable, the hard asset of a real estate property, whether it's vacant land or any type of real estate is going to help you hedge against inflation, and inflation's coming. It's going to be 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It's coming. There's definitely going to be some inflation because we've printed in the trillions now. It's like almost $5 trillion worth of money that we printed. So how are we going to recoup that? I mean, wow, taxes are going to increase. Diane, final thoughts. Get about half a minute.
Oh, well, final thoughts are, let's make sure if you are looking or wanting to purchase in the future, make sure you plan and get ready, get pre-approved because agents will not take you out unless you are pre-approved because it is a very hot market.
Yeah, they shouldn't take you out. Some of them will.
That's
Some
correct.
of them are still not there yet. Man, there's always good, better, and best. But really, if they're taking you out and you don't have a pre-approval, what's going on there. But Diane, thanks so much. Great job.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
As always, yep. Fairway Independent Mortgage, Diane Vance, hiring loan officers, assistants. And coming up more with Ray Hall, we're going to talk about development. If you're ever curious about real estate development, talk about that and more here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rogers.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
James wanted me to call Chuck, so stand by. Trying again. It went to voicemail the first time. Stand by. What were you saying, Chuck?
That's a good deal.
Okay, stand by, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show. Giving a shout out to Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, whether you're planning a local or long distance move, reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They did a great job with my family's move, and you can trust them too. Brothers Easy Moving. Reach out to Gary Thacker and his team, and they'll take care of you. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. And a couple of hot property listings here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 6513 South County Line Road in Plant City. This is over in East Hillsborough County. Great opportunity. You got 5 acres. You got a creek in the back, natural spring-fed creek and water source. 6513 South County Line Road, 5-acre parcel of land, and it backs up to English Creek Preserve. And you have room for a home and another large building. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Ray Hall in studio, Ray Hall Appraisals, and I believe that I heard Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, on the show here.
You did indeed, B. How you doing?
Hey, bud, doing well, my friend, and yourself?
Oh, hanging in there, enjoying this lovely Florida weather we're getting this week.
Excellent. All right, good to hear it, my friend. So, Suncoast Roofing, pretty much a statewide roofing company now, aren't you?
We are indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Very good, very good. So we got Chuck here on the show, Ray Hall. So before the break, I had teased. I want to go back to Ray here. We were talking about development, because I think more and more you're going to see this popping up. People are going to start projects. Mm-hmm. They're going to look at zoning. They're going to look at where are the utilities, mm-hmm. how close are the utilities. That's one of the main questions they always ask. I've got 84 acres out in East Hillsborough County. I got 41 acres listed in Spring Hill, Pasco County, another 18 in Spring Hill or Newport Richey. I've got a lot of land listings. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about land and development and time frames and zoning and all that fun stuff.
Development, there's a reason why people make a lot of money in development, because it's a very difficult process.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that have to be right for that development to take place, and it could incur costs that you never even realized before.
Yeah.
One thing, like you may have a piece of land on a 2-lane roadway, and maybe the zoning in the future land use allows you to put 50 units in there.
Right.
But now there's something called level of service of the roadway.
Right.
And if you're under a certain level of service, you can't do that development, or now you have to pay for the road.
Because it would overwhelm the infrastructure, too many cars,
exactly.
Too many, not enough fire, EMT, emergency services.
Exactly. But look for yourself, anytime you go into a development, mm-hmm. you don't normally go from the road to the property. You go into what they call a deceleration lane. Mm-hmm. That's that little lane you go into.
Yep.
The county's not going to pay for that. Or the city or whoever, they're not going to pay for that. You have to pay for that.
Yep.
So if that's required on your roadway, now you have to do it.
Yeah.
Now, are there any utilities going through? Yeah. A lot of times, if you don't have the right utilities, you're not going to get the density you want. You really can't build, say, a 500-unit condo and put it on a septic tank.
Yeah, that does not work.
It's just not going to work.
And it's going to cost you too much, even if you were to bring in prefab manufactured homes.
Right.
Per unit, if your plan is to put a septic it just gets too expensive.
It does. And there's a lot of things involved with using a septic tank. Obviously, some areas do require it, but now you're talking Board of Health has to get involved.
Yep.
You have to have everything the right distances. So there's so much involved in development that it's a very long process too. It doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes what you're looking at with someone just getting a project started, they've been planning it for a year or two.
Oh, yeah.
And you can go look in public records and find there, because if you're getting what they call a PUD zoning, planned unit development.
Yep.
That's all public records, and you can take a look and see what they're going to be doing.
Yep.
But you can see the timeline, and it takes a long time because there's a lot that goes on. You have to meet with the municipality, get everything set up because we all like progress, but it has to be done correctly, and you don't want too much of a negative impact on the surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking with Ray Hall here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Ray Hall Appraisals coming up as well. More from Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing. But yeah, you hit it right on the head. There's a lot of things that have to line up right. By the way, from day one, you're investing in engineering, soil testing, feasibility studies.
Yep.
All the sewer, what we just talked about. So from day one, and I think a lot of times too, owners don't understand this. When you have a large parcel of land like that, let's just say it's 40 acres, and the developer says, you know what, I'm going to take a shot on this. I'm going to make you an offer. I'm going to put $30,000 in escrow. Let's start this deal. They're from day one, everything, all of the soil testing that they do, feasibility studies, you name it, all the different infrastructure studies, that becomes the owner's property at that point. Because most of the time they write it up that way in the contract because it does them no good to walk with it.
Right.
So they're going to give that to the sellers. So I think sellers really need to consider and open up their minds a little bit and say, hey, this person's willing to take a chance on my property. And yeah, it's not going to be a 30-day close like a single-family home would.
Exactly.
You're talking about more like a year closings, 8 months to 12, and even longer now, especially with COVID.
Oh, yeah. And things don't happen quickly anymore.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to someone today or yesterday, and they were looking to build or develop something, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And everything got shut down, and the whole plan. I'm sorry, it was an investor this morning I was talking to, and completely, basically ruined their plans.
I wonder if that's from contract law. This would be a good one for one of our attorneys. If COVID was considered an act of God. You know how you have that force majeure in the contract. I wonder if that was deemed an act of God. If you're an attorney out there and you're hearing this, call the hotline. Let me know, 813-750-0550. I'm curious if that something like COVID would be considered or deemed an act of God. Some people, I believe people would probably get out of their deposits if they pushed that hard enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if precedent was set for that, but force majeure in a lot of these contracts is an act of God. I don't know if it was seen as an act of God. Maybe it was an act of the Chinese Communist Party. Who knows? And some other people. But
I remember when it started, I had several orders that were canceled.
Yeah,
because the person said, no, with COVID, I'm not doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah, we lost deals to it. I lost listings because of it. I had a contract. Not only that did I lose the buyer side contract, I lost the listing because then things changed. But yeah, it's a challenging time. And if you want to get your valuation done, Ray, are you doing any home appraisals for folks that are looking just to get an appraisal from you or retail? Talk to me about if somebody out there listening wants to get a valuation done.
Yeah, we can. I have people contact me all the time that just want to, or they might be in a contract and they want to know if that value is correct or not, or they're thinking of or they're trying to weigh their options. Should they sell? Should they refinance? So we can certainly do an appraisal for any one of your needs.
Yep.
We don't just do the lender type appraisal. We do all kinds. So you just call my office, 813-452-5369. I spend most of the day out on the road, but you leave a message with my assistant. I get the message, and I will call you back within 24 hours.
The website, Ray Hall Appraisals?
RayHallAppraisals.com. That's got my phone number, email, everything you need to contact me.
RayHallAppraisals.com. Perfect. All right, I want to talk a little bit with Chuck Peterson. Chuck, on this development stuff, are you guys getting into any of the development side of these deals, or have you worked on these types of big projects?
We've done a few, but that's really a whole different piece of the industry. The roofing side is the new construction side. It takes a little bit of a different production operation than what we have. So we don't do a lot of it. We do we've done a couple big projects, but there's so much new construction right now. They're saying 2021 might have a 20% increase from the last time. So it's an unbelievable amount of business.
Yeah, it really is. It is really interesting. You start thinking about feasibility, water. You start thinking about transportation. It's just really, Florida is just such a hot market. I think there's so many combinations for why. First of all, we have freedom here still. We have a great governor that understands freedom and the Constitution. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people are moving to sunny Florida.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we have a lot of ocean.
That's right.
Which is another big
Waterfront.
draw.
That's right. Waterfront.
Yep.
Beaches. Now, when it comes to roofing, there are contractors out there that are not as reputable as Suncoast Roofing. What do people need to look out for? What are some of your top consumer tips, Chuck?
All right. So as a consumer out there, and I'm the same as you, Brandon, and everybody else, right? We call somebody to come to our house to check on doing, whether it's a roof or anything else. We need to check and make sure that company is reputable, and you can do that easily by checking sunbiz.com. You can check the licensing board. You can check with your local municipality just to see if they're licensed in the state. They check. It literally takes 5 minutes of time to do that, but it's better than giving a check for $5,000 to some guy that drove up in a pickup truck, said he could do your roof, and then you never see him again.
Yeah.
And we've seen those horror stories, and we've talked about it in the past, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens more than you know, I think. It's the same thing when we bring on, like Thomas King, for example, with Florida Firearms Academy. People don't realize, especially with this southern border crisis, they're trying to not to call it a crisis and really call it, a spade, but you got people, pouring through. You got MS-13 gang members in Hillsborough County now at record numbers. Mm-hmm. So people, a lot of times they don't realize not only dealing with crime and things of that nature, but also with contractors, contractors are committing crimes. And just because you don't hear about it, it's not top of mind, it happens, Chuck. And Chuck, tell that story you told one time where you had, especially after a storm. This is when you got to be really diligent.
Yep. So one of the items we talked about was we went after the hurricane, and we went to a lady's house. They had paid to have their house re-roofed. It had been tarped by a company, and we came to find out there was 5 houses right there in her cul-de-sac, and they took 50% deposit from all 5 homeowners. They put a tarp on each house, and then they were never seen from again. So that's the kind of things that happen after a storm. People are trying to figure out what to do, but there's never a time that you give out 50% of your money to somebody up front. I mean, it's just one of those, I know it's a storm, but you just have to take a day and sit back and gather your thoughts and get your stuff in order. Call a company that deals with insurance companies. Call your insurance folks, even, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways, but it happens a lot. We had an example the other day where one of our guys went out, and guy's got a roof that's 10 years old. It's literally, the shingles aren't nailed down. There's shingles sliding off because they never even had a nail put in. They were just stuck up there with some tar. It's less than 10 years old. He's got to pay to have a brand new roof put on.
Wow.
Because the company that put his roof on is out of business.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So, because it was just a little, we'd never even heard of the company, but, it was here in Hillsborough County. And,
That's
unfortunately, they just, they were taken advantage of by some guys who, were just not good guys.
They're out there. Stay with us right here on the show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors. Also, top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom, and one of our favorite segments coming up as well is our feel-good story of the day. Woman starts food pantry in her basement to help others during pandemic. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. A couple of hot listings here. We got a bar for sale over at 5402 U.S. Highway 92. This is a commercial property. It's the Finish Line Saloon. If you ever thought of purchasing, check it out. 2,000 square feet, turnkey operation. You got the 4 COP beverage license, centrally located, furnitures and fixtures included. 5402 U.S. Highway 92, bar for sale out here in Plant City. Also, we have an affordable home here, 5103 Rose Place in Pinellas Park. Very affordable, listed right around $90,000. And it is a small, about 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1-bath, covered carport, and close to shopping and restaurants right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
Feel good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so a woman in Jackson County, West Virginia, has made a big difference during the pandemic by starting a food pantry in her own basement. Rhonda Lee started taking money out of her own paychecks to create a food pantry for those in need. Some weeks it was $200, some weeks it was $100, says Lee. Lee was laid off in June, and she continued the pantry going with the money she had saved. Lee said she strived to find ways to give back to the community after she herself lost everything in a flash flood in 1995. So see, it goes around, comes around. She's trying to give back and continue that random act of kindness. And she says, quote, "I know what it's like to get up and one day everything's gone," she says. "They helped me, and I'm in a position to help others, and I'm going to help others," end quote. Lee says she's helped anyone, no matter the circumstances. She even goes the extra mile and drops off food herself, end quote. "We don't tell people no," she says. "We just find out a way to do it." For these reasons, Lee has been nominated for Local Hometown Hero Award for her community. All right, there you have it. Feel good story of the day. Awesome stuff. And we have Ray Hall Appraisals here in studio, and Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing as well. And let's go ahead and get into our consumer tips, top tips, nuggets of advice, words of wisdom. Ray Hall.
Like I always say, right now so many people are overpaying for their real estate. They're just throwing that money, I want to get this contract. Don't overpay for your real estate. It is really the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Everyone always says, I want to buy a house. I'm going to own my own home because it's a great investment. Well, what investment advice have you ever heard that says, hey, overpay for this investment and you're going to do well?
Yeah.
No, look for a deal, and if you have to wait. You work with an educated or experienced real estate agent to help you find, the right way to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people are doing the for sale by owners, and, that person wants as much money for that house. So if you're not, really educated in the real estate process and real estate valuation, hire a professional to help you.
Yep.
Because you're doing more harm than good by just going into it and overpaying.
That's right. I always say there's good, better, and best in every profession: doctors, attorneys, lawyers, contractors, etc. Good, better, and best, and the difference between comps. So somebody can show somebody comps. Let's say an unscrupulous realtor can show a seller comps, and then say to their friend, "Hey, gonna get her to list this really low. Check this out. I've seen it and I've heard it happen.
Yeah.
You know, so it all comes into the comps that you select. When we say comps, I mean comparable properties that you select. So that's a great tip from Ray Hall. Ray Hall Appraisals. Don't overpay in your real estate deals. Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going with the good, better, and best. You know,
there you go.
In the contractor thing, as we know, I mean, we talk about it all the time. You know, the good is probably not even a good saying. You know, I mean, there's sorry and good and best.
Exactly,
what there really is.
That's true.
You know, and so in the roofing business, if you're having anything done to your house, touching a roof, I mean, we always say, you know, don't sign straight on the line. Don't hand somebody 40 or 50% of your money the first time you see them. I mean, you got to sit down, do some research, check the folks out, think about it, make sure. We never take that kind of money up front. I mean, never. We always get, you know, $1,000, $2,000, something like that. Then you pay us when we're done, when you actually see the work's done. It just makes so much more sense for the homeowner, you know. But you know, there's a lot of people out there who hand out a lot of money, and we hear the horror stories all the time.
So that's a good question then. So more or less, you're looking for a little bit of buy-in from the homeowner. You're not looking for them to pay a quarter or half a point or 30-40% of the. You're looking for, hey, just, you know, $1,000 deposit, something like that. We'll get started because you're going to come back and finish the job. That's what you got to look for. Yeah, correct. I mean, you know, if they want a ton of money up front, you should clearly think about saying no, goodbye. Yeah, exactly. So that's a great rule of thumb there. You know, small amount of deposit. If they're asking for more money and they're pushing for a higher deposit amount, that should send up that red flag to be careful.
Because of that, they probably need that money bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you don't want to do business with that person.
That's right.
Yeah,
you know, the other thing that's happening right now in new construction, you're seeing it where I'm hearing it from different people is, you know, these contractors know that at some point it's going to slow down and it could be the GC, it could be the plumbing, the electrical, the pavers, the pool company. It could be any one of these parties. What happens is they're taking as many jobs on as they can, taking in as many deposits as they can, getting more and more people on the line, so to speak, because they know at some point it's going to slow down. And what happens is they're going to work on your property on Monday. On Tuesday, they're going to go work on the other properties. You know, so they're playing that game. Chuck, are you seeing that out there too?
Oh yeah, we see it all the time.
Yeah,
you know, they always ask us: is it number one? Is it are you going to sub the job out? No, we never sub anything out. You should ask that question if you're a homeowner as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good question to ask. No, everybody that works on the roof works for us, and they're all covered our workers' comp. And, yeah, we're going to start your job and finish your job. We're not going anywhere else.
Yeah. So it's very, you know, similar thing that you see out there, Ray?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I've seen those instances where people. I walked into a house once and they had the water stains in the ceiling. Come to find out, they just had a new roof put on. And it was such a bad job, it started raining and the roof was leaking. They didn't do the drip edge, I guess, correctly or you know. So, you know, go with a reputable company.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, good Lord, if they don't have a logo, you know, I mean, don't go with that.
Logo, website, you know, pretty basic stuff. A lot of, and something basic sometimes too is like, you know, if the email address is you know, Sally Pants, you know, at Yahoo or something. Yeah. You know, you got to be careful.
I know with my own business, you can go to my website, you can read about my entire career and when I got started and how I got started, and you have my address and my face is all over it. So you know, I'm really an appraiser.
Recommendations, testimonials, those are all key. Final thoughts, Chuck?
I'm trying to think final thoughts different than what we always talk about today. But
well, we hit some good ones. We hit some good ones earlier. You know, the deposit amount, you know, verifying the contractor, and then, you know, just making sure. Oh, you got a 50-year warranty also out there, don't you?
Yeah, we do have that. Yeah, a 50-year warranty. So if somebody offers you something less than 50 years, you need to call us.
There you go. Suncoastroofing.com, suncoastroofing.net. Either one gets you to them. Chuck Peterson, longtime friend of the program. And Ray Hall, final thoughts from you, my friend. Ray Hall Appraisals.
Be smart in your real estate. A lot of people are out there going to try to take advantage of you right now.
Yeah.
You know, so be smart. Don't rush into anything. You know, make educated decisions. Be an educated consumer.
That's right.
And
yep. Support the show. We greatly appreciate it. Local companies here on the show. You hear us every day, 4 o'clock drive time. We got our weekend show on FM 102.5 The Bone Sunday mornings. And follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Brandon Rhymes PA on Facebook. Consumer Quarterback Show page out there. And online questions. You can submit the questions through consumerqb.com. And we would love to connect with you. Please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Make sure you check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.